Alrighty. Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Knuppel. I'm a member of the organizing committee for ANH Academy Week 2023. I am so excited to be here with you all and to listen to this fascinating session, the Food Systems Dashboard, New Tools for Decision Making. I know we're all going to learn a lot, and it's going to be a lot of fun too. I'm the technical manager for this session. And I'll be joined with the session facilitators, Rebecca McLaren, Katia Pedro, Jocelyn Raymonds, and Christina Sokorenko. I would like to thank you all in taking part in ANH 2023. We're looking forward to this robust and interactive session today.
So welcome again, everyone. The Food Systems Dashboard is the manifestation of a dual ambition to capture the complex realities of food systems and to translate a vast constellation of data into practical, actionable insights for country leaders. So we're all very delighted to have this chance to share it with you, to explore it together, and to learn from you about the ways that it can serve all of the work that you are driving today. So I'm here with my co-facilitators, Katia Pedro, Rosaline Raymonds, and Rebecca McLaren. And we're going to take you through a couple presentations and some exercises to try and get you familiarized with the Food Systems Dashboard and give you a chance to practice all of its new and exciting functionalities. So the goal of today is for you to really learn how the Food Systems Dashboard can garner important takeaways for a country's food system. It can describe food systems, it can diagnose them, and even help to decide on the recommended actions and policies that might be able to remedy some challenge areas. We hope that after this session, you understand how that Food Systems Dashboard uses data, what kind of data is available on the dashboard, and concretely how you can use it for decision-making in your country and or projects. And second of all, we'd also like to debut some up-and-coming features of the Food Systems Dashboard. So you'll be able to get a sneak peek at what will be available very soon in terms of subnational data on the dashboard. We'll kick off with a quick icebreaker in a moment, and then give you an overview of the Food Systems Dashboard, its core describe functionalities, as well as its new diagnostic functions. We'll practice exploring the dashboard together through a breakout room exercise where you'll be assigned a country and get a chance to sort of look at different challenge areas, different success areas, understand what some underlying factors to these food systems outcomes might be. We'll also look at the decide feature. This is the third feature of the Food Systems Dashboard: describe, diagnose, decide. We'll understand how the Food Systems Dashboard can also point towards different policies and actions that can be taken in each country's unique food system. And finally, we'll get an introduction to the up-and-coming country subnational dashboards. So I'm going to go ahead and pass to my colleague, Katia, for the beginning icebreaker. Katia, take it away.
Thank you, Christina. So now I'll pass it over to my colleague, Rebecca McLaren, who will give you an overview of the Food Systems Dashboard.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rebecca McLaren. So I'm going to give a brief presentation now, introducing you to the first two of the three features or pillars of the Food Systems Dashboard: describe and diagnose. And so first, just really briefly on why food systems matter, which I'm sure a lot of us in the room know as we're here today. Poor diet quality is still a leading cause of mortality worldwide. And there's a lot of attention now and recently on how food systems shape diets, human and planetary health, and livelihoods. And a systems approach is really essential in understanding patterns, looking for actions, and looking at things that you may not expect at first. And understanding how things are associated with nutrition, environmental, and social outcomes, informing policy at local, national, and global levels. But there's need to improve food systems decision-making, especially using better food system science. Policymakers are often in the dark on how food systems are performing, as well as the short and long-term risks and where interventions may be critical. The Food Systems Dashboard aims to develop this global guidance and tools to make some of the complex food system science issues more visible, and allow for better decision-making, informing policies and programs to improve food security, diets, nutrition and health, climate change and environment, and livelihoods. The Food Systems Dashboard uses a framework that has been modified from the HLPE 2017 report. You can see that here, where we have the drivers of food systems, and then in the center of the rainbow, the components of food systems themselves, food supply chains, food environments, and individual factors, all of that leading into and influencing food security and diets, and then the impacts on human nutrition and health, the environment, economy, and equity. And you can see the subsections of each of these areas to the right. The Food Systems Dashboard has 3 pillars, as you've heard Christina and myself mention: describe, diagnose, and decide. Describe is the data. This is where you visualize food systems. We'll do an interactive tour of the dashboard, but just quickly, that can be found in the global data sections and the country profile sections. Diagnose, the diagnostics are up on the country profiles, and that helps to identify challenges and opportunities in food systems. And then decide, which will be the focus of a shorter presentation a little bit later this morning or today, which will allow you to prioritize actions. So here's a view of the global data section, which is the describe. You can see on the left, all of the indicators are organized according to that framework that we just looked at. So you have the drivers, food supply chains, food environments, and individual factors and outcomes. You can choose any of the indicators here, can view them on a map view, where here you see the data for % of the population who cannot afford a healthy diet. You can see past years for that indicator. You can also switch to a graph and a table view, as well as seeing a section that you can compare indicators. The Food Systems Dashboard currently has over 225 indicators. Here you can see how they're distributed across all of those different sections. These indicators come from over 40 different sources. So it's bringing together this data from 40 different places. You can go to the dashboard and see it all in one place. There's data for over 230 countries, which is over 630,000 data points. We're currently in the process of adding a large number of new indicators. So by the end of the summer, we'll have closer to 300 indicators. And we're always open to suggestions of new indicators. If there's something that you wish was on the dashboard that isn't, please reach out and let us know. We have a process for evaluating indicators and adding to the dashboard when appropriate. So next, the diagnose pillar, which, as I mentioned, is available on the country profiles. So there are 39 diagnostic indicators that the team has worked to choose from those 225 and to set thresholds for. You'll see here, you can see whether each indicator is in the green, yellow, or red. Green indicating a success, red a likely challenge area, and yellow a potential challenge area. And on the country profiles for each of these indicators, you'll see where these thresholds actually lie. So you can see the country, the region, and the world, and where that is, whether in the green, yellow, or red. And how these thresholds were set, there were a few different methods that were used. For indicators where there was already a globally agreed upon cutoff values, such as for stunting, we used those. That was a small number of indicators. In other cases, if there were significant values, whether for public health or environmental significance, we would use those to inform our thresholds. For example, for fruit supply, we used the number for the recommended dietary intake of fruit to inform our fruit supply adequacy thresholds. But for the majority of indicators, we looked at a distribution of the data and set the thresholds based on this. So you can see to the right 2 examples of doing that. And there's more information in publication that's listed here if you're interested more in the methods, or also please ask us and we can give you more information on that. So now I'm going to share my screen and show you the dashboard. Everyone see that okay? So we are on the homepage, and first I want to take you to the information section, which is a place that has a lot of useful information that you may need. You can find information about the dashboard itself, what it is, the pillars, the describe, diagnose, and decide, how to navigate the dashboard, how to cite the dashboard. The dashboard is open access and everything on the site can be used. The data can be downloaded and used. Just ask to cite the dashboard appropriately. Information on our team as well as partners and funders. There's another section about food systems, which gives more information about the framework that I've shown and how the dashboard is organized. Goes into more detail on all of those areas of food systems. It also gives some information on the typology that's used on the dashboard. The team developed 5 different food system types. You can see here, and countries are in each one of those 5 types. You can read more about that, about each one of the types here. And then there's also a section on data sources and methodology, which gives some methods information on the framework, the indicators, the typology, how it was developed. And then there's also a resources section where you can see some food systems transformation briefs, which talk about using the dashboard for different stakeholders, our publications, interviews, and other talks. So there's a lot of useful things in this section when you are at the dashboard and want to know more. So now let's dive into the 3 main sections, which correspond with the 3 main pillars of the dashboard. So this is the global data section where you can see all of the indicators as we looked at. You can view them. Over here, you see the menu, which will let you choose between different areas of food systems, choose different indicators you may be interested in. It will bring up the indicator so that you can see it on the map view. You can view past years. You can view the metadata, which we've provided for each indicator, where you can see the source and be linked to where the data is coming from. You can see a definition and the relevance, which shows you why we've decided to include this indicator, why it's important for food systems. You can also download the data. You can view in a graph view, where you can populate with choosing countries and regions, and you can view for multiple years when available. And then you can also view in a table view. And that's available for all of those 225 indicators. And then going over, there's also a compare feature, just show you very quickly, where you can choose different indicators to view them on a scatter plot. So that's another place to be able to view the data. Now looking at the country profiles, you can choose a country on that first page, and then here you see a subset of those indicators. So we've chosen around 50, just over 50 indicators here, where you can see for the country, the region, and the world. And then the diagnostics, as I talked about in the presentation, you can see those 39 indicators, whether they're in the green, yellow, or red. And then you can go to that indicator specifically by clicking on it and see that those thresholds, as I mentioned in that presentation as well. So that's the country profiles view of the dashboard. And when I come back a little bit later after our first exercise, we'll look at the policies and actions, or the decide. All right, so back on the dashboard homepage and being able to see these 3 pillars: describe, diagnose, and decide. And here we're looking at the decide pillar. And so currently on the dashboard, we have 87 policies and actions that are up. And these are focused in 2 specific areas. The first 42 are focused on diets and nutrition, and the next 45 are focused on environment. And we hope to add more in the future focused on livelihoods and other outcome areas. These are the ones that are up on the dashboard currently. And these are coming from 2 briefs. That work was led by Corinna Hawks, and you can see here the 42 policies and actions to orient food systems towards healthier diets, and the 45 actions to orient food systems towards environmental sustainability, co-benefits, and trade-offs. And these are both available, as I showed in that resources section of the dashboard, so that you can read the briefs in full and view them there. But now I'm going to take you to the dashboard itself. Everyone see that okay? And we will go, can show you quickly, as we saw in the information section, under resources in reports and policy briefs is where you can view and download both of these. And then under the methodology section, there's information about the background methods that this is all coming from those briefs. So you can either see excerpts from it here, or you can read the briefs in full. So now if we go to the policies and actions section of the dashboard, which you can access here or from the homepage, and you'll see those ones that I mentioned. The first ones are the 42 policies on healthier diets and nutrition, and these are broken up into different sections: agricultural actions, trade actions, and you can use this menu to move through if you're interested in a specific area, or you can scroll through and see all of the actions, and they're listed with the action itself and the potential impact of that action. You can move down to the environmental actions and again, read some introduction text to those. And these are sections including land use, the environmental impacts of farming, wild fisheries and aquaculture sustainability, food loss and waste, and reorienting diets and demand. So you can move between these and look at the different actions here. And these are organized a little bit differently, where you can see the action itself, which environmental dimensions they've chosen, a set of environmental dimensions such as greenhouse gas emissions, soil health, chemical pollution. So you can see the environmental dimension and then what are the trade-offs. So in this set of actions, the team that Corinna Hawks led looked at potential trade-offs that might happen with diets and nutrition as well, or in other areas. So you can look at just some things that are important, keeping that systems way of thinking, looking at how acting in one area can impact other areas of food systems, which is key. So we can explore all of those actions here. And future work that we're exploring on the dashboard is how to link these actions to the diagnostic. So how can we link something that we're going to work a little bit individually in our next breakout group, which Christina will describe, but what we can do on the dashboard as well to provide some guidance in things to consider and possible options to look at, a menu of options for potential and likely challenge areas.
I think there's a lot of interest on subnational data, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing in the different countries. But first, why are we building country dashboards? I think as part of the discussions, we touched upon all these points, but really having subnational food systems data really allows for deeper understanding of local food systems. And as Anna mentioned earlier, the dashboard currently has only national level data. So it gives you an overview of what's happening at the country level, but you don't have the overview. And there are a lot of disparities at the lower levels that you don't really see. So having this data, having more granular data really helps you understand better what is going on inside of the country. It also helps identifying specific challenges and opportunities in different regions of the country. And of course, it will help policymakers and organizations identify what are some of the targeted interventions that are needed and how and help them also prioritize resources and investments accordingly. So we're currently working with government officials to build subnational dashboards in 8 countries across Asia and Africa. So we have 6 countries for which we have already developed a prototype, which are Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Indonesia in Asia, Nigeria, Kenya, and Mozambique in Africa. And we have 2 dashboards that will start in India and Ethiopia. And someone asked in the chat earlier if we're also looking at city level data. And for some of these dashboards, for some of these countries, we are including city level data. And so here in the screen, you can see an example of an indicator for Indonesia. So that's a screenshot of the prototype. Unfortunately, the data is not publicly available yet, but we're hoping to launch some of them publicly by September. And so in here you can see on the left side data for the 38 provinces, and on the right side you can see how this data is actually what does it look like if we break it down into the 98 cities and 416 regencies. So data in Indonesia is collected at that lower level, at the level of cities and regencies. So we have a lot of data available for the different cities. And for most countries, data is only collected at the level below national level. So this is the level where we focused our efforts for now, plus some additional cities. And so, as you can see, the views that we have for the subnational data are very similar to what we have in the food systems dashboard. So we have the map view that I just showed you. We have also a graph view that allows you to compare the different regions. So in this case, it's the 38 provinces in Indonesia. And you also have the table view that allows you to see and download the data for the 38 provinces or the level below the admin 2, 98 cities and 416 regencies. So if you see here at the top, we have admin 1, and you can always play between the different admins. Also knowing that some of the data that is available for one admin level may not be available for the other level. So this is what they will look like, and we're very excited to launch them in the coming weeks or months, depending on the countries. And just before I close this presentation, I just wanted also to share some information, because we're always trying to improve the dashboards, and we really want to connect with all of you. It was really a great session, and we're planning to have a survey in the coming weeks. And we really would like to hear from you on how you've been using the dashboard or how you plan to use the dashboard now that you've attended our session. So we'll be reaching out to all of you on this in the coming weeks. So thank you so much.
Okay, so we've learned about the 3 functionalities of the dashboard, how it can describe country food systems, diagnose some challenge areas in those food systems, and even help policymakers to decide on the programs, actions, policies they can reach for. And we just got a look at the more granular data that is up and coming subnational data on the food systems dashboard for given countries. And I just wanted to thank everyone for joining us for today's Learning Lab. The food systems dashboard, it combines data from so many different sources to give you, your partners, your colleagues, a complete and holistic view of your country or your region's food systems. You can compare components of food systems across different countries and regions, see how it's doing in comparison with global averages. You can even identify and prioritize ways to sustainably improve the food systems within which you operate. So we hope this matchmaking service between, food systems performance and food fixing policies has been useful to all of you. I want to thank you for all of your rich insights, your thoughtful questions. We're also learning a lot from you and how you're using the dashboard and how it can be a helpful resource for all of you in your many fields as you tackle food systems issues. So remember, today's conversation doesn't have to end here. Feel free to keep exploring the dashboard. Please reach out to us if you have more questions or need any clarifications on any of the features. I'm going to type into the chat very quickly our team's contact information. And yes, just thank you again for your participation, your commitment, and your dedication to improving global food systems. We're all lucky to be in your company today. Until next time, take care and keep up the great work. Thank you so much.